Prepare yourselves for a battle of epic proportions between two titans. Feast upon their voices and revel in their words. This is Dueling Ogres.
Hello, Ogres, and welcome to episode 204. Thank you for joining us, as always, on this vacuous Saturday evening, Earth date December 5th, 2020. I'm your host, Remington Hitchcock, and with me, as always, my co-host, Brandon Full. Say hello, Brandon Full.
Hello, Remington Hitchcock. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good.
Why did we
laying in my bed
Uh-huh.
with no pants on.
Thank you for that visual. I appreciate it.
Yeah, there's a visual painting for all of our listeners out there.
Yeah, I'm sitting in front of my computer with my pants on, but unbuttoned.
Why unbuttoned?
I had my man girdle on, and I just took it off, and you kind of have to unbutton your pants then to take it fully off.
And you have just chosen not to button it back up?
Yes. That would involve me standing, and I'm not ready to commit to that kind of fuckery right now.
Yeah, you've always had problems with commitment.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say problems with standing. You've always had problems with standing, you fat piece of shit. Why don't you lose some weight, fatty? God, you're disgusting.
I would never say that to my best friend.
I think you have before.
No, I can't recall any time I've ever called you fat.
If you did, it I don't know how you got through that without laughing at all.
Well, the joke's on me because I'm certainly not a thin man anymore.
No, but you've always had those broad shoulders. I think that makes you look thicker than you actually are sometimes.
The broad shoulders help to balance out some of the fat from all of the cereal that I eat.
Just constant bowls of cereal.
Basically, yes.
Cereal's good for you, though, sometimes.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch?
The best cereal, hands down. What is your...
See, I like Cinnamon Life.
I was going to say, what is your favorite cereal?
Probably Cinnamon Life.
Yeah. I could probably get away with eating Cinnamon Toast Crunch like every day.
Would you say that's your favorite cereal?
Yeah, I think so. I like Fruity Pebbles and Cocoa Pebbles.
Classics, yeah.
And I like Sugar Smacks. Do they still call them Sugar Smacks?
Yeah.
Okay. But
I'm somewhat of a cereal connoisseur.
Yeah, but I have a weird reason for liking Sugar Smacks.
Well, do tell.
So, after I eat and process Sugar Smacks, my pee smells the same as if I have drank a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
So it's not like I'm going out of my way to eat Sugar Smacks just so I can smell my urine when I take a pee. But it's an interesting side effect. And I think it's just because
you're a weird guy, Remington.
I think it's just because, like, I don't know if it's like a chemical that is in both coffee beans and sugars, the blown up fucking wheat pieces of Sugar Smacks, like if it's some kind of structure in the grains or what, but I don't know. I also enjoy the taste of them though, so there's that.
Yeah, Sugar Smacks are great.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
I had a medical scare a couple months ago where I was peeing, going back to the smell of urine, and it smelled like syrup. And I was like, oh God. So I Googled it because it was like strong maple syrup. Hopefully this isn't too gross for our listeners.
And you have to ask Dr. Google about that.
Yeah, I had to ask Dr. Google, and it was like, if you have sweet smelling urine, it's a sign of diabetes.
Which is something that you should be.
So I was immediately freaked out, like, oh great, I'm developing diabetes now.
Yeah, because it runs in the family.
Yeah, it runs in the family. turns out I had just drank a bunch of coffee and it was my coffee pee.
So by a bunch of coffee, you're talking, because I mean, you're a coffee drinker anyway.
Yeah.
And there for a long while, you were drinking a ton of coffee.
I've cut down actually on the amount of coffee that I drink. But yeah, I was drinking like 3 to 4 big cups from the gas station a day.
Yeah.
I'm down to 1 a day now.
Well, that's not too bad.
Yeah. So my pee is safe and my liver is too.
I'm glad.
Mm-hmm. And that's pee talk.
It's Dueling Earth Pee Talk. Hope you enjoyed that, kids.
Pee talk.
Oh, sweet. I just got a notification from Samsung Pay where I can get Galaxy Buds for $125.99.
Oh, boy.
That's a real
That's
steal.
a steal.
Yeah.
What do you think about those Bluetooth earbuds that they sell? Not just Galaxy, but like the Apple earbuds too.
I've never used Bluetooth ones.
Yeah, you used the ones that we got to review. You tried them out anyway.
Oh, I guess the earbuds themselves. Yeah, I guess I did. I liked the over-the-ear headphones, but they were a little tight on my big fat head, and they eventually actually broke.
Oh, really?
But I really don't fault the company for that. Well, not entirely. I fault my gigantic, ponderous melon for that.
Your head just stretching out the headphones.
Yeah, and causing pressure points in the where the head or where the earpiece was connected to the actual sprung steel headband.
Yeah.
And it just caused the plastic to fail. But that's not the first time that I've ever killed a pair of over-the-ear headphones. I would go through what are those gaming headphones? The Turtle Beach.
Yeah.
Turtle Beach was a big name there for a little while, but man, I went through 2 or 3 pairs of those, and I was like, I can't afford to keep buying these fucking things. I love the sound of them, but
because of your monstrous head.
Yeah. At $80 to $120 a pair, I can't afford to just keep fucking buying them and breaking them.
Your universal monster head.
Yeah.
You've got Dracula, Frankenstein, Creature from the Black Lagoon, Remington's monstrous head.
Yeah. The Blob.
So let's flip the script, Remington. What have you been up to?
Holy shit, you got a lot of nerve, Brandon.
I know I do.
Who the hell do you think you are?
I'm just afraid of that monstrous head.
Who the hell do you think you are asking me what I've been doing?
How dare you?
So I've got some exciting news. I walked the stage and did my...
Like a stripper?
Yeah, yes, I stripped on my graduation stage.
Oh, wow.
Which was super awkward because it was just like 7 people from the college and then family, basically. So...
Did you go full nude? Or did you wear like a tasteful G-string?
Yeah, a tasteful G-string for sure. I mean, you know,
that's the way to do it.
Yeah, you got to have a little bit of respect for the process, you know.
Yeah.
But no, I got up and I walked across the stage and quote unquote got my diploma, even though it's not printed or official, and I won't get it until they mail it to me after I actually complete college.
So you're not completed yet?
Yeah, I'm not entirely completed. The finals are coming up next week. Yeah, next week. I think everything's due by like the 10th, and then all the grades have to be in on the 11th, and then I'll be officially done with college.
Delightful.
Yes.
And your degree is in what again?
Business administration.
So what's your plan to do with that degree?
To have some letters behind my name.
Do you plan to administrate some businesses?
To put on my resume that I completed a college. Yeah, I mean, a few people have asked me that, and honestly, I don't know. I'm just happy to have gotten the opportunity to go to college, and equally happy that the state has pretty much paid for it in its entirety.
Yeah, I was going to ask if you had any college debt.
Nope, I will have nothing. It is all paid up and paid for.
That is amazing.
Yep. To be fair, a business admin degree isn't crazy expensive at WVUP, because it's primarily kind of a community college, and the classes there are considerably cheaper than going to like WVU or Marshall or, you know, OU or any of the other colleges, proper straight up colleges. So
Right.
that makes it kind of nice. I mean, there's a lot. It feels like there's kind of a lot of practical training there. But overall, I mean, I enjoyed my time. It's, you know, it's accredited, so it does its job as far as, you know, continued learning goes. And I am very happy to be done with it for now, at least. They actually offer up to a bachelor's degree in business, so I don't know. One of these days I might, you know, pursue it and maybe take 1 or 2 classes every year in the future, and maybe go for a bachelor's just as I can. But for right now,
To just slowly work your way towards it.
yeah. But for right now, I'm definitely going to take a break, get back into doing the things that I really enjoy doing, like podcasting and making digital art and stuff.
So
It'll
we
be nice.
might be on a more consistent schedule.
Yes.
It's a strong
Which I think
maybe.
we've talked about the last couple of times. Yeah, it's a strong maybe. Other than that, the Christmas season is ramping up full force. I worked today, and it was just person after person after person bringing stuff in. My body hurts. I'm tired. And
Well, you managed to fight through it to record a podcast for our
Yes.
faithful listeners.
yes, because I love you all. You're beautiful.
I am ambivalent.
You're ambivalent?
Yes.
Oh.
I'm kidding.
How about you, man? What have you been up to?
I'm just a joker.
Not falling into your traps, Brandon.
Okay. I have not been up to much of anything. I'm on a new medication, and he just upped it last month, and it seems to be helping me a whole lot. I feel pretty good, actually.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird to actually feel positive for once.
Yeah, that's cool. So, like, are you still having swings, or are they just not as bad, or?
I'm still having swings, but they're not as bad. I'm still getting depressed sometimes, but it's a more manageable depression.
That's good.
Yeah. I've also been volunteering at that aquaponics place still that I mentioned last time we recorded.
Did you actually mention it last time we recorded? It's been so long. It's been so long that I just don't remember if we actually talked about it on the podcast or not.
I may or may not have. I don't remember. I thought I did, but
if we did,
in case I didn't,
I was gonna say if we did, refresh their memories, and if we didn't, then make them have new memories.
it is an aquaponics place. The company is called Asaya.
Mm-hmm.
And basically how it works is it has tanks full of fish, and the fish poop, and then it goes through a process through the system that feeds the plants. So there's no dirt involved at all. The plants are directly in the water, which I think is what makes it aquaponics.
Yeah.
And then there's giant grow lights above it. Actually, marijuana grow lights is what they use. So they are fucking bright.
Yeah, and those are UV lights, so it's just this pinkish purple light emanating from them at all times, isn't it?
Yeah, I tried to take pictures of it, and everything comes out purple.
Yeah.
Because of the lighting.
Yeah. Does it look that way in it?
No, when you're there, it doesn't look purple.
Oh, so it's the camera itself.
Yeah, it must be.
Picking up the extra UV lights. That's cool.
But I'm loving it, man. I volunteer there twice a week. So I'm still volunteering. I don't have a job yet, but they're supposed to be hiring in hopefully January. So as long as I can make it through this month, I should be hired on there.
Yeah. I'll keep my fingers crossed for you.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I do a lot of like pruning. I check the water, the nitrates and the ammonia and stuff like that, feed the fish, keep track of everything. There's a lot of paperwork to fill out.
The trimming and stuff, I mean, it's got to be pretty cathartic for you as well, I would imagine.
Oh, it is. I throw on my headphones and throw on a podcast and just trim for hours.
That's kind of cool, to be honest. That's not even me being facetious. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, I can do the same thing. For like 90% of the job, I can just have my headphones in.
Yeah. And that's doubly sweet,
which is great because I have so many podcasts I haven't caught up on.
Yeah. That's really cool, man.
So yeah, that's pretty much what I've been up to.
Yeah, I'm glad that you found something, even if they're not paying you yet, that you really just kind of enjoy and you know, can keep you happy and healthy and busy.
Yeah, the busyness is important. Because of what I've been on taking wise, pill wise, I've actually been getting out more too. Like not hanging out with people so much, but I've been getting out into the world. Safely, of course, with COVID and everything.
Right, for sure. As safely as we can muster it.
Basically visiting my parents. I don't go anywhere else, so I go over to my parents a lot and hang out with them and my brother.
Yeah.
Because they also social distance, so it's like my very small safe circle that I have.
Yeah, which is good. It's good to have.
At your job, do you notice a lot of social distancing? People wearing masks and stuff?
I am kind of happy to report that we've seen a lot more people putting on masks. Of course, in the Marietta area, Ohio and West Virginia both are really picking up with it. We still have a few people that come in without a mask, and we say, hey, you know, there's a big stop sign on the front door that says masks are required. Like, period. No discussion for it. Like, put on a mask or you'll have to leave, sort of things.
Yeah.
And it still gets ignored, and it's just like.
So do you have to tell people? Do you have to be like, hey, mask?
Yeah, and most of the time, you know, I'll get I'm sorry about that, I forgot, you know, I left it in the car or what have you, you know, and I'll just give them one, which is all well and good. On a personal level, I'm dumbfounded by it, because I'm not going to say that I've never forgot my mask, like in the car or something. But as soon as I realize it, like when I walk in or like before I get to the door, usually I realize that I don't have it on, and I turn back around and I go back to the car because, you know, this has been going on for fucking, 9 months now?
Yeah.
It's like, if you don't, how can you not remember at this point?
It's people just trying to get away with stuff, I think.
I mean, I guess it has to be, because it doesn't make any sense to me otherwise. But I've also... This entire year has taught me how stupid people are. Just stupid. Just no common sense, no basic decency, no respect for themselves or others. And it's just, it would be a joke if it wasn't so sad.
You're becoming an old man, Remington.
I am. Well, I've always been an old man, and I've always thought that way, but like 2020 has really driven it home for me.
Yeah. I notice when I go out, and I can't stop thinking about just how fucking weird the world is now. To go out and see everybody wearing masks, to see children wearing masks, it's just crazy. I don't know, it's like we're living in a post-apocalyptic world, which we almost are. I mean, with the amount of deaths that are happening.
Mm-hmm. And, I don't know. It's so weird. I was actually not wanting to talk about it, but it's so pervasive. I guess we can't. Although it, you know, the word for the day was vacuous, and it's kind of funny how it worked out that was a pretty important word to have during that conversation. But
yeah, I mean, I wanted to avoid talking about it too for the most part, but like you said, it's so pervasive. It's everybody is going through it.
Yeah.
And I mean, talking about how people are dumb for not wearing masks and that kind of stuff, that's probably what our listeners don't want to hear. Although I feel like 90% of our listeners are probably with us because we're pretty left leaning as far as our policies and ideas go.
Well, but that's just it. It's not policy. Like, it has nothing to do with that. And that's what frustrates me, is because it gets turned into a political issue, and it's not a political issue. It's a scientific issue. And being a stubborn asshole about it, just because it's a mild inconvenience for you, is the dumbest argument that you can have for anything.
Yeah, well, it wasn't a political issue, but it's become a political issue now.
Yeah. And I like to refuse to treat it as such, as far as that goes. When somebody, as soon as somebody starts saying whatever bullshit reason that they start spouting at me for the ones that are grumpy about it, or, you know, masks don't work, like, where did you get that information? Because Cracker Jack boxes, as far as I know, are not deemed a credible source of information by any health administration or organization in the world. So
Yeah.
when there's multiple studies that have proven that they are effective.
Yeah, exactly. And people argue, I've seen people arguing online that are like, well, if masks worked, then why are we still dying at such a huge rate? And it's because people aren't following the rules.
Yeah. The thing that I was talking to a lady who does dental work, she's a dental assistant, and she raised a valid point that I hadn't actually thought of. She was like, about that they don't work argument, she's like, well, if they don't work, then when you're getting surgery, why does the doctor wear one?
Yeah.
I guess he just doesn't really need to because they don't work, right? And while we're at it, let's just get rid of gloves. And screw it, we'll get rid of hand washing too, because that doesn't do anything. It's just, I mean, that's the logical steps in a shit argument like that.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like if you've got somebody rooting around in your chest cavity, you probably don't want them breathing their filthy human mouth disease particles into your open chest wound. And while that is like an extreme, example of that, it's not like it's an apples to oranges comparison. You don't, like, if somebody has a cold, you don't want them breathing on you because we know that colds can be passed that way. I mean, that has been established for hundreds of years, if not thousands.
So do you think masks are here to stay? Like, not just with COVID, but do you think people are going to be more inclined to wear masks when they have colds and stuff?
I don't know. I mean, many of the Asian parts of the world do already. So, especially with China and especially in Japan, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
But also, Japan is a culture of really reaching out and taking care of each other too. So there's a fundamental difference in culture.
Do you think that the masks are infringing on our freedoms as Americans?
I don't understand why that's even an argument.
Yeah.
That's like, it's like saying that I'm a good Christian, and through the nature of being a good Christian, which means, be kind to your fellow man, treat people with respect, and, treat others the way you want to be treated, but only if it's convenient to you. Like,
yeah, there's a certain hypocrisy there.
Yeah.
That I feel like your freedom ends when it starts to infringe on somebody else's freedom.
Yeah.
Or not freedom ends, but it's a gray area for sure.
I just think that the idea of a mild inconvenience about wearing a mask, and I'm not going to say that they're not harmful to some people too, because there is also proof that people have gotten bronchitis from using masks. But you should also be cleaning your mask frequently.
Yeah.
Or you should not be, if you can help taking it off in a certain area where you're socially distanced and not, contaminating, then you shouldn't have it on. Like, my favorite is when I see somebody riding in their car alone and they have their mask on. And I'm just like, you don't need it on in your car. You don't.
I do that sometimes.
Do you? Is it just because you forgot to take it off, though?
No, it'll be like if I go to the dollar store, I'm wearing my mask, and then I know my next step is the gas station. Mm-hmm. I just keep the mask on because I'm like, well, there's no reason to... Because the mask I have doesn't go over the ears. The mask I have, like, ties behind my head. Uh-huh. So it's kind of a hassle to tie it. So I'll put it on at the dollar store and then just drive to the gas station with the mask on.
I mean, if you're getting enough breathing out of it that's comfortable for you,
yeah, it doesn't bother me.
Then I guess that's fine. If it doesn't bother you, then it doesn't bother you. I guess that's not a big deal. But for me, you know, I have asthma, and it still acts up every once in a while. I mean, I control it. I don't have to take a medication for it. But, you know, and I'm also fat and out of shape and don't have the lung capacity that I used to because I smoked and I still vape. And, you know, if I'm getting my hustle on, then sometimes I get out of breath, and yeah, it's hard to breathe in that mask. But at the same time, I respect my fellow man, and respect my fellow man enough that if I happen to be asymptomatic, that I don't want to expose another person to what could be, at the very least, an uncomfortable sickness, to, at the worst, death.
Yeah.
I think that.
So what all this? Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I think that the only true way to actually make a substantial difference in the people who are out or who are decrying wearing a mask would be to actually charge somebody with involuntary manslaughter. But like, you didn't wear a mask and we traced it back to you that this person died, so we're charging you with involuntary manslaughter.
Yeah. Would you be okay with that?
I know that sounds... Yes. I know that sounds really assholey and extreme, but I mean, I use this term loosely, from the conversations that I've had with people who are so adamantly against it and are in my store bitching while they're putting a mask on, and bitching the entire time that they have the mask on, and then taking it off before they leave the store in a fit of rage because they need their notary signed, and we're the only place that's still doing it. It's just...
At this point, the science has been out there enough that people should know that masks are helpful.
Yeah.
Because you have two sides to the argument. You have the people who are basing it off of what scientists have said, who have said, yes, wearing masks help. If everybody wore a mask, this thing would be over in weeks. Or this thing would be contained within weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other side, you have some dude on YouTube saying that masks cause CO2 poisoning.
Mm-hmm.
Just some random dude that people follow. It's dumb.
Yeah.
But with all that said, you can go to duelingogres.com/bazaar and pick up your own Dueling Ogres mask.
You can. You can have a lovely Dueling Ogres gator with our logo on it, or you can get an Always Be Plugging face mask.
So always be plugging.
That's right. That was the best segue. All right, let's move on to stuff that I actually want to talk about and not this. It makes me angry and sad and frustrated. And I think about it too much anyway, and I try not to.
Yeah, I know. I feel the same way. And I'm sure our listeners do too. So hopefully that wasn't too painful to listen to.
Yeah.
Because you've been inundated with it the same way we have.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. Give me something to play with, Brandon.
Well, I'm not wearing pants.
No, I meant story-wise. We can talk about that later.
Oh, okay. My bad. I had my dick out.
Oh, God.
HBO Max.
Fucking asshole.
HBO Max is getting a bunch of Warner Brothers movies in 2021.
Yeah.
The same day as they launch in theaters.
Yeah. What's up with that? Because
I'm guessing they're really pushing towards HBO Max and streaming services.
So, like, does HBO or Warner Brothers own one or the other?
I'm not sure.
Like, am I just out of the loop? Or did they just buy rights for it?
Let me see if I can find who owns Warner Brothers. Warner Media.
Yeah, I just found it as well. Warner Media owns Warner Media Studios and Networks, consisting of the entertainment and family-friendly assets of Turner Broadcasting, and then HBO and Cinemax, as well as Warner Brothers, which itself consists of a film, animation, and television studios, DC Comics, New Line Cinema, and together with Viacom CBS, a 50% interest in the CW. I guess that makes more sense now why Warner movies are going on to HBO. Because, I'd seen that in a couple of different places. And I was really confused why HBO was getting certain things. And I was like, I don't understand.
Yeah. They're getting the first movie, I think, that's launching same day on streaming service as it is in theaters is Wonder Woman 1984, which is dropping on Christmas Day. So you think you're going to watch it? Are you going to get HBO Max? Do you have any interest?
Not really. We still have cable that we watch. So to have a streaming service on top of that, I mean, we have Amazon Prime, so there's been some things that I've watched on Prime. Through Sprint, I have a Hulu account, and I have watched... They have the entire series of Trigun, which is my favorite anime.
Yeah.
And I watched through the entirety of that 3 weeks ago.
That's a good series.
It is. I realized, actually, that because when I first got into anime and when I first got into Trigun, they played it on Cartoon Network on, what do they call that?
Adult Swim?
Yeah, but it's not Adult Swim. What's the anime one called?
I'm not sure.
Oh my god, fuck.
It's not Toonami, is it?
Yes. And I fell in love with the series, so I actually bought the DVDs from... Oh, what was the music store that was in the mall?
FYE?
Yeah, it was FYE. And they didn't have a great selection, and they would only get these animes in, like, sporadically based on, like, what was popular at the time. So it got to a point where, like, they weren't getting these Trigun DVDs in, and I was buying them, like, because there was only like 3 or 4 episodes on a DVD, so I was buying them as they came out to complete the collection, and I missed one.
Oh man.
Yeah. So I realized as I was watching through the entire series, I was like, I don't fucking remember this at all. I was like, oh, that's right. I was missing the 3rd DVD of the 4 DVD season for it. So, yeah. So I even got new content.
So Trigun, do you want to give a quick rundown of what Trigun is about for listeners who may not have seen it? Because I like it. I think it's a really solid anime.
Yeah, Trigun is a story. The humans had pretty much kind of ruined the planet Earth and go out exploring into space. They find this kind of desert planet where, to not spoil too much, they kind of halfway crash land on. I mean, for, an anime that's, 20 years old now?
Yeah, I got to watch the spoilers on that.
Yeah, right. But, and it's the story about a gunman called Vash the Stampede who's wanted for $20 million double dollars for the destruction of an entire city. And he turns out to be a bumbling, sweethearted oaf. And trouble just follows him wherever he goes. So there's definitely a lot more to it, but it's a great anime. If you want to appreciate, I'd say, what anime is all about, that's a really good one. I mean, it's between that and Cowboy Bebop. But it definitely has a much more Western feel to it than Cowboy Bebop. Like, there's still a lot of technology involved, but since it takes place on a desert planet, I mean, everybody lives like an old Western person.
Yeah, and I love space westerns.
Yeah. And
like Mandalorian.
Yeah.
So I plan on watching Wonder Woman on Christmas Day.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, Wizard in the Wardrobe Keisha has given me her login information because you can have so many people using it at once.
Oh, yeah?
Yep, so I'm going to watch it with her, actually. Like, we're both going to start the movie at the same time and then text each other about what's happening.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah, it sounds fun.
Yeah.
I'm also getting, because Christmas is coming up, the one thing I asked my parents for was Cyberpunk 2077.
Yeah.
So I should be getting that on Christmas too. So
yeah,
I'll have a busy Christmas.
Which we have proper release times for now too.
Yeah, December 10th it comes out, so a little less than a week.
Yep. And for Pacific time, it's actually December 9th at 4 p.m. For us on the East Coast, it's 7 p.m. on December 9th and 12 a.m. GMT December 10th for everybody else. So
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I've read that it has a 45 gigabyte update before you can play it, so that's always fun.
Yeah.
So I'll get to pick it up Christmas, come home, and then wait for like 2.5 hours while it downloads a 45 gig update.
That is massive.
Yeah.
Preloads of Cyberpunk 2077 have already begun on Xbox One and Xbox Series X or S and will be available on Tuesday, December 8th for PS4 and PS5. On December 7th at 3 a.m. Pacific Time, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard, Cyberpunk 2077 will be available for preload on GOG and at 8 a.m. Well, I'll just hold on. And at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard on CET. Preload will become available on Steam and Epic stores.
Yeah, so it's a game. Is it something that you're interested in at all? I know you don't really play a whole lot of games anymore.
Yeah. I mean, I never pick up new titles really. But it's definitely something that I think about playing for sure.
Yeah.
If I happened across it or got it on a good deal and could play it on Steam and play it on the PC.
Yeah, I think you could probably run it at minimum settings. For like high settings, it's pretty beefy.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still rocking a 1050 Ti, so I'm starting to get behind the times when it comes to my graphic card processing.
Oh shit, I have a 980.
Yeah, this is true. You do. You
So,
are
I'm right there with
slightly
you.
more behind me. Yeah.
But I think I have a better processor than you.
I have a Intel i5 7500, I think.
Okay, I have a Ryzen 5 3600K.
Okay, I don't remember how those two stack up against each other.
But I got mine about 8 months ago, and it was almost brand new. You've had yours for a couple of years.
Yeah, the i5 is definitely an older processor, but
It's not a bad processor though.
Oh no, it's a solid build.
This isn't a dick waving contest.
No, yeah, I was right. An i5 7500, 3.4 gigahertz.
Gigahertz.
I'm running 32 gigs of DDR4, DDR5.
Probably DDR4.
Yeah, I think it is. I think you're right. I think it's DDR4. And an NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1050 Ti, the MSI version. Oops.
Yeah, I have 16 gigs of RAM, so you're beating me on the RAM for sure.
Yeah. And that's a what, 4 gig card, I think, the one that I have. My graphics card.
Yeah. So anyway, you want to hit me with a story?
Sure.
We're a little rusty, I see.
Yeah, it's just we're kind of plugging along.
We're plugging along. You're tired. I'm doing from home.
Yeah.
It's all weird.
How do you feel about the ocean, Brandon?
I hate it.
Do you really?
Hate everything about it.
Even the sand?
It's coarse and gets everywhere.
I'm glad I set you up for that fucking primo joke right there.
But no, I like the ocean.
Well, then you'll be happy to know that Stanford engineers have developed a new light and sound tech to finally map the ocean floor.
I am happy to know that.
So currently, neither light nor sound-based imaging devices can penetrate the deep ocean floor from above. But Stanford scientists have invented a new system that incorporates both light and sound to overcome the challenge of mapping the ocean floor. And what they plan to do is deploy a drone or even use a helicopter and use that technology to reveal what lies beneath our planet's seas.
That would be cool. Especially if they're discovering all kinds of new sea monsters and shit.
Yeah. So this is from bigthink.com. A great many areas of the ocean floor covering about 70% of the Earth remain unmapped. With current technology, it's an extremely arduous and time-consuming task accomplished only by trawling unmapped areas with sonar equipment dangling from boats. Advanced imaging technologies that work so well on land are stymied by I love that word use. Great job, article writer. are stymied by the relative impenetrability of water. That may be about to change. Scientists at Stanford University have announced an innovative system that combines the strengths of light-based devices and those of sound-based devices to finally make mapping the entire seafloor possible from the sky.
So they have like a special reader that they can use from helicopters?
Let's see here. It looks like the technology is called PASS, I think. I'm just kind of skimming right here. The solution presented in the study is the photoacoustic airborne sonar system. Sonar, if you want me to pronounce it correctly, I guess.
Sonar.
Whatever. Sonar.
All that damn sonar.
Or it could be the Sooners.
Oh, the sonars.
Its core idea is the combining of sound and light to get the job done. Quote, if we can use light in the air where light travels well and sound in the water where sound travels well, we can get the best of both worlds, says Aidan Fitzpatrick, who is the first author on the paper. An imaging session begins with a laser fired down to the water from a craft above the area to be mapped. When it hits the ocean surface, it's absorbed and converted into fresh sound waves that travel down to the target. When those bounce back up to the surface and out into the air and back to past technicians, they do still suffer a loss. However, using light on the way in and sound only on the way out cuts that loss in half.
Huh.
So what this means is that the past transducers that ultimately retrieve the sound waves have plenty to work with. We have developed a system that is sensitive enough to compensate for a loss of this magnitude and still allow for signal detection and imaging. End quote. From there, software assembles a 3D image of the submerged target from the acoustic signals. So yeah, I don't know. It's really interesting to get that kind of penetration from the dark depths, I feel like.
Yeah, seriously.
I'm trying to see if it doesn't look like it says what the range of it is. Oh, wait, never mind. There it is. I just found it. Sorry.
Yes.
Although its developers are confident that PASS will be able to see down thousands of meters into the ocean, so far it's only been tested in an quote-unquote ocean about the size of a fish tank. Tiny and obviously free of real-world ocean turbulence. Fitzpatrick says that current experiments use static water, but we are currently working toward dealing with water waves. This is a challenging, but we think feasible problem. Scaling up, Fitzpatrick adds, our vision for this technology is on board a helicopter or drone. We expect this system to be able to fly at tens of meters above the water.
That's insane.
Yeah. So, and being able to use a drone or a helicopter would definitely help, for say it's particularly rough seas. I don't imagine that they'd want to be scanning in particularly rough seas, but the weather on the sea can change at a moment's notice. So having a vehicle that could, quickly not only dispatch to get the data, but also withdraw, a little quicker than a boat and a little more safely.
Yeah.
Because if the weather changes and you're on a boat, you're kind of at the mercy of the waves. But if you're in a helicopter and a squall runs through, then you can just outfly the squall.
So how does the world change if they discover dinosaurs?
Does it? Is this a question that like ties to my story, or is this a completely separate thing?
This is a question that ties to your story. Like if they're scanning the ocean floor and they discover like these massive dinosaurs that are living underneath the ocean, do people care? Or is it one of those things that's like a big story for a few days and then people just go back to living their lives?
Oh, I think that would be how it would go. It would just be a big story for a couple of days. It's not like, we're still finding ancient creatures, especially in the sea. Weird things. It wasn't all that long ago that we thought that giant squid were still things of myth and fantasy, but we have enough evidence, at least from dead body parts, to know that giant squid do exist.
Yeah.
and from damage on humpback whales, I think is what they tend to fight with, because the humpbacks are the ones that can dive deep enough to interact with them.
I believe so, yeah.
So, yeah, we have that.
So what if they discover a kaiju, like a giant monster underneath the ocean?
I mean, unless it gets particularly pissed off by sound waves, I mean, it would be cool science, but I don't know if it'd be an issue.
You don't think people would care?
I think the appropriate people would care. And the nerds like us who would be like, oh, that's really cool that there's a thing that exists. And then we'd have something to talk about, like with people who are out of the know. Be like, did you know that there's a giant kaiju at the bottom of the sea? Yeah, science found it like a year and a half ago, man. Oh yeah, it's fucking huge, bro.
It would just be another story for the podcast, pretty much.
Yeah, for sure. It would be.
I didn't mean this to be a segue, but speaking of kaiju, have you seen James Patrick's new comic?
I have not.
James Patrick, the friend of the podcast who we've interviewed, I think twice now.
2 or 3 times, yep.
Has a new comic called The Kaiju Score, published by Aftershock Comics.
Mm-hmm.
So it's James Patrick, Rem Brew, and Dave Sharp. And it's basically, the idea is that it is a group of people who are doing a heist, like an Ocean's 11 style heist, during a kaiju attack.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I think actually
I haven't read it yet. I just picked it up recently.
I feel like I remember him mentioning that to me maybe the last time that we talked.
He did. He mentioned that he was doing a book with kaiju, but he didn't go any further than that.
Yes. Okay, cool. You were there with me, I think, then.
I wasn't there. You interviewed him at a Comic-Con, but I took the audio and transcribed it.
Oh, okay. Well, that one was a while ago then, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's been a few years.
I think you might have mentioned it again at the last con that we went to then. Because I do remember him talking about that now.
Maybe, yeah. I didn't really talk to him very much.
I have such a crap memory, and I don't remember when things come out or release dates or anything. I'm such a garbage nerd.
But the cool news, and I don't know if you saw this, the Kaiju Score was picked up by Sony to be turned into a movie.
Oh, that's cool. For sure.
Yeah.
That's really awesome.
So James Patrick is going to be a movie writer.
Ooh.
Well, he's going to be a writer who a movie is based off of.
Right. That's cool as shit.
I don't know if he's actually writing the movie script, but yeah, so congratulations to him. That's super cool.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll read Kaiju Score next time we record. I'll have a review of it up.
Well, that sounds awesome there, Brandon.
Yeah. So in other news, the DuckTales reboot was canceled at Disney after 3 seasons.
See, you bring me up and then you fucking knock me back down. You're the worst best friend ever.
You get back down, but you get up again.
I do. And you're never going to keep me down, Brandon. For all those
Even when I tell
kids.
you that the DuckTales reboot was canceled at Disney after 3 seasons.
Son of a bitch, why do you do this to me?
You're a fan of the DuckTales reboot, aren't you?
Yes, and we were talking to Jeremy Ginger's brother about it, and he was like, I wasn't really sold on the animation of it, and I get that, because I wasn't either. But that being said, number one, it grew on me, but the storytelling after the first 3 or 4 episodes really started to capture me. And now going into, the 3rd season, it's really good storytelling, and there's so much more that they could do with it, and it really upsets me. Like when I read it, I was genuinely upset, and I don't think I've been so upset for a cancellation of a show since The Tick.
Oh wow.
The newest one. Yeah. Because I was really into The Tick as well. And it was just after season 2, they were just like, oh, I'm not doing it anymore. And the worst part of the cancellation of The Tick for me was the fact that Ben Edlund was just like, well, I've given it another college try. And I think I'm going to be done with that, trying to get The Tick back on. It was... The new incarnation of it was so good too, and the storytelling was great. The first live action one was rough.
See, I disagree. I loved the live action one.
I'm not going to say that it wasn't good in its own way, because it was super corny and fit that that style that Ben Edlund had kind of introduced, and it was kind of a cross between the comic and the television show. But I mean, it felt janky, you know?
Yeah, I'll give you that.
And the 2016 to 2019 series on Amazon Video was just, it was polished, it had great effects. It had both practical and visual effects working in tandem, which was great. And the storytelling was deeper and richer, I felt like, than, you know, the initial live action series.
Yeah.
It kind of felt like the initial live action series was just a bunch of people in costume kind of sitting around and talking about being heroes.
Which is why I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a good subversion of the typical, like whenever they fight, what's the giant cow's name? There's a monster that's a giant cow that they fight. Milkmaid, I think.
There was the man-eating cow.
It might have been the man-eating cow, but there's an episode of the original live-action Tick where the giant cow attacks, and they hear it attacking. They're in a diner, and they run out, and they're like, well, we're going to fight it. And then the next scene is them after they fought it, because they didn't have the money to actually show them fighting a giant cow.
Right, yeah.
And I enjoyed that. I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, the low budget nature of it, definitely. I mean, hell, I can't even imagine how much they spent on putting in, oh God, what is his name?
Patrick Warburton?
Yes. Putting Patrick Warburton into that beautiful big blue tick suit.
Yeah.
And I think he was a producer on the 2016 to 2019 one with Peter Serafinowicz and Griffin Newman.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm pretty
That's
sure he
cool.
was. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was like a producer or something like that.
So what have you got, Rim? Hit me with another story.
We got off track with the DuckTales. Hold on.
Oh, you got more to it?
I just want to drive home that I am very upset. Now, that being said, on the Disney Plus, they are going to do a reboot of Darkwing Duck based off of the character design set forth in DuckTales. But
so you'll probably see some of the DuckTales characters show up again in Darkwing Duck.
And there was a lot of cameos from other you know, characters in the Disney world in DuckTales. We saw Goofy show up. Mickey showed up in the guise of a watermelon that Donald found on when he crash landed on a deserted island. So it was a Wilson moment, only it was Mickey.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. And in this latest season, did you watch a lot of like Disney cartoons growing up at all?
We never had the Disney Channel, so I only watched it whenever it would have its free weekends.
Gotcha. Well, there was a series called Bonkers.
Oh yeah, I remember Bonkers.
Yeah, Bonkers actually made a cameo. No talking or anything. He was a police officer like in the background as the news was reporting, but he showed up in it, and I was just like, oh my God, that's fucking bonkers. That's hilarious. I love it. So they put a lot of extra like little teasers and stuff in, and it could have gone so many different ways, and there's still so much more. I feel like the writers are extremely talented. I think they could tell a lot more stories, and it's just not happening, and that's very frustrating to me.
Yeah.
But if I remember right,
it makes me wonder what they decide to cancel, like why they decide to cancel shows.
Yeah. But if I remember right, the original DuckTales series ran for 3 years, and I don't know how many seasons they actually pulled out of that. So the same number of years we're getting out of this, and I don't know how many episodes were in the old season versus the new one. See, the original series ran from 87 to 1990, and there was a film in August of 1990. Yes, in 87 to September 18th from 1987 to November 28th, 1990. let's see here. There was 10 episodes a season on that, looks like.
Really?
Yeah.
I would have assumed there'd be a lot more.
Yep. And the original series was a lot less connected. So they were more kind of standalone almost than a contiguous storyline.
So the ones that the DuckTales reboot is a continuous storyline?
Yeah. Yeah, they all kind of tie together, and the storytelling even in cartoons has advanced over the years, especially with that stuff. So I feel like the reboot was not only good just from a nostalgia perspective, but also good from, like, obviously it was made to capitalize a little bit on the nostalgia factor and really give some elevated storytelling to these characters so that an older audience could also appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense.
Yeah. And I feel like Darkwing, see, the way they set up Darkwing is weird, because in this world, in this the new DuckTales world, Darkwing was like a comic book turned movie character. He was a show in the DuckTales world. And there was a talk where the original Darkwing Duck actor had been trying to have a Darkwing movie made to reboot the franchise. Or no, he was just signing autographs at cons and stuff in, like, parking lots. And then he heard that a studio was picking up a Darkwing movie, and he just assumed that he would be the one playing Darkwing. So he went to the studio to find out that somebody else had been cast to play him.
That's funny.
Yeah. So fast forward a little bit, because I don't want to give away too much for that. Because, I mean, I feel like even though that was second season, I think that it is still fair to say that, you know, you should really go watch the series if you're wanting to get that nostalgia buff out of it. But
because it's on Disney Plus, right?
Yeah. So as this new Darkwing takes over, the movie ends up flopping, but Launchpad talks the new actor into just being Darkwing for real.
Oh, okay.
So the supervillains from the show don't exist in this world, except by way of some experimentation that happens later on in season 2, I think, as the storyline behind Scrooge and Fowl, the evil organization Fowl, starts to pick up. And there's basically a mad scientist who pulls these evil supervillains from a different dimension where they're actually real in for Darkwing to. Yeah.
Damn, this is pretty involved.
Yeah, it's super fucking involved. And, like, that's what, like, it fucking takes a left turn and just sucks you into, like, what? So this is how you're introducing these characters. And it's so neat. But I'm interested because those supervillains end up actually getting sent back to that previous dimension. So I'm interested to see what they're planning on doing with the new Darkwing.
Yeah. So the supervillains you said got sent back to their dimension, so they're no longer in our dimension?
Yeah, as far as I know, yes. So yeah, I don't know.
I still have Disney Plus. Maybe I'll have to check it out.
You should, man. You really should. I think it's worth taking a look. Like I said, the first maybe 3 or 4 episodes, maybe there's a little bit of pandering, nostalgia pandering, but once you really start getting into the story, I mean, we get to meet the nephew's mother, because Uncle Donald is the one who raises them, and he is having a feud with Scrooge in the first season. Well, actually, in the very first episode, Donald had lost his job and he's looking for a new job, and he has to, the only person that he thinks is able to come in or to watch over the kids while he's going to this job interview is Scrooge. So he goes to Scrooge's mansion, and they immediately have a fight. And he's like, I want you to take care of the kids so I can go look for a job so I'm not a moocher. Yeah. But then he just ends up living on his boat in Scrooge's pool. Pretty much as a moocher.
That does sound pretty good.
Yeah. So I guess it's my turn then to drop a story then.
Yeah, because I've got to get going by 7, so we don't have a whole lot of time left.
Yeah. So, okay, I'm going to drop some quick space news. If that's cool with you.
Yeah.
So, you actually turned me on to this story. The Arecibo telescope has collapsed. So, for those of you who may not be into just like science and technology and that sort of thing, the Arecibo radio telescope is based in Puerto Rico. It was, I think it was the world's largest radio telescope for a good long while. I don't have any like hard and fast numbers on it. It was located in Puerto Rico, and from a geek perspective, the most iconic use of it was during I think it was 007 GoldenEye.
Oh yeah.
The movie and the video game. It had this huge floating array above this massive radio dish that was basically suspended by a bunch of steel cables.
Yeah, I'm looking at a picture of it now. It's crazy looking.
Yeah. They had known, officials had known that it was no longer stable. They had been planning to demolish the telescope, but before they could actually fully take it down, the some of the cables finally failed and pulled down 3 of the 4 suspension towers. And the array in the top of it came crashing into the dish below. The Arecibo Observatory in Puerto Rico suffered a fatal blow on Tuesday when a 900-ton receiver platform fell into the observatory's iconic 1,000-foot dish. Officials had already planned to dismantle the observatory due to its extensive damage. It was battered by Hurricane Maria in 2017. Multiple support cables broke in August and November, and a recent safety report found that attempting to repair the telescope would endanger workers. The collapse wasn't exactly surprising. It sounded like a rumble. I knew exactly what it was, Jonathan Friedman, a senior research associate at the observatory, told the Associated Press. I was screaming. Personally, I was out of control. I don't have the words to express it. It's a very deep, terrible feeling. But you can actually watch a video, just look for Arecibo telescope collapse on YouTube or wherever, and you can see the moment. They had a drone that just happened to be pointing at the right place to capture the cables failing and the array come crashing into the dish.
Oh my gosh, I can see some still images of it. That's crazy.
Yeah, it completely, it's almost like it drug across and just shattered the dish itself.
Yeah.
It's really, really insane. And, you know, it's weird because it's the end of an era. I mean, you know, GoldenEye came out in the 90s. There was a wildly popular N64 game that people still love to play to this day. And the movie itself was fine, but the game really was a huge part of my childhood. And the nerd in me really appreciated the fact that, you know, or that stuff took place in this telescope.
Yeah, apparently it was the biggest telescope for 53 years until the one in China was built.
Yeah. So, follow-up space news. Astronauts will be able to extract fuel, air, and water from Martian brine. So this is from Universe Today.
Martian brine?
Yeah, so a brine is a salty water.
Yeah.
A little over a decade from now, NASA plans to send astronauts to Mars for the first time. This mission would build on decades of robotic exploration, collect samples from the surface, and return them to Earth for analysis. Given the immense distance involved, any operations on the Martian surface would need to be as self-sufficient as possible, which means sourcing whatever they can locally. This includes using the local water to create oxygen gas, drinking water, and rocket fuel, which represents a challenge considering that any liquid water is likely to be briny. Luckily, a team of researchers from the McKelvey School of Engineering at Washington University at St. Louis has created a new type of electrolysis system that can convert briny water into usable products while also being compact and lightweight. So, of course, when you're talking space travel, that's the most important thing that you can do, is be compact and lightweight.
Oh, for sure.
This new instrument is consistent with NASA's commitment to in situ resource utilization technologies, which will allow future missions to be less dependent on resupply missions. It's also keeping with NASA and other space agencies' commitment to reduce the cost of launching payloads into space, since it's more efficient and compact than current electrolysis systems. Traditionally, electrolyzers rely on electricity and fuel cells made of an electrolyte to break down chemical compounds and recombine them to create new ones. The Perseverance rover, which will arrive on Mars by February 18, 2021, is carrying an experiment known as Mars Oxygen ISRU experiment, or MOXIE. I thought you'd appreciate that one.
Gotta love those naming conventions, yeah.
Yeah. Which will rely on a solid oxide electrolyzer cell to harvest oxygen gas from atmospheric carbon dioxide. So yeah, this article is pretty long. Like I said, you can go check it out on Universe Today. But man, we're getting there. We're taking those steps.
Yeah, we are. We're gonna be on Mars before too long.
I know.
I mean, we're already on Mars with the rover, but
I think it's gonna happen.
Have an actual feed on Mars. That's gonna be crazy.
Yeah, I think it's gonna happen in our lifetime, man. I hope that it happens in our lifetime. I'm gonna be really pissed off if I die and nobody's on Mars. I am. I gotta quit eating so many cheeseburgers.
Yeah, but cheeseburgers are so good.
They are. They're so good.
You don't really eat a lot of cheeseburgers. You eat like...
Yeah, I don't.
Your food order stuff, like your food boxes.
Well, we hadn't been getting them for a while, but Ginger just got another one. I think I talked about last time where we were running into some financial stuff, didn't I?
Yeah.
Was that actually on episode or not?
Maybe not.
No, I don't think
it all blends together because I don't know what you've talked to me about personally and what you've talked about on the episode.
Right. It's weird because usually we just talk about stuff on episode, about what's going on in our lives because we were seeing each other every week, and that was about the time that we did that sort of thing.
Yeah, really.
But anyway, we hadn't been doing it for a little while, and she just bought a new one recently, so we at least have 3 meals to make. But last night I made a roast, by last night I mean the night before. I put it on low and slow, the lowest setting on our slow cooker, and it went all day.
Was it good?
It was really, because usually I'll do it 6 to 8 hours, but this was a whole lot longer and at a lower heat. So like there was a ton of flavor packed into it. And the meat itself,
super tender.
Yeah, the meat itself was tender. I still haven't figured out the magic of not of the meat not being a little bit on the dry side, to where you have to just kind of dip some of the au jus out of it and just kind of drizzle it onto the meat. But this was the most tender fall aparty, and it didn't feel as dry because it had really broken down. So
that does sound really good.
Yeah, it was super tasty. But yeah.
All right. Well, you want to end it there?
Yep. I was going to say, let's go ahead and get you out of here at 6:55. So where's my script? Oh, fuck. I closed it. Hold on.
I apologize to the listeners for having such a short episode, but we kind of had to fit it in where we could. Hopefully we'll have some more consistency for you now that Rem has finished school.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to getting back and being able to just do this all over all the time again. Yeah. So if you all have any questions or comments, or you'd like to hear yourself on air, you can call us at 978 DU-OGRES. That's 978-386-4737. Call us up. leave a message. It's great. We'll put you on the show. You can also reach us on Twitter at Dueling Ogres, email us at duelingogres@gmail.com, or leave a comment on the Facebook page like these nice people.
Our only comment this week was from the Viscount Terry W. Irvin II, who said, "Good episode and interview. Brim, you managed to make your voice sound pretty good despite the technical difficulties.
Yeah,
I noticed, but I'm not sure why, your research and discussion skirted around lore regarding the Twilight vampires."
Because they're fake and phony, and we don't believe in sparkles.
I don't believe anything sparkles ever.
It's coarse, and it gets everywhere. Make sure to subscribe on our website at duelingogres.com for news, shows, and articles pertaining to some of your favorite geek news. I know that once that I finish up school, I've got a couple of book reviews that I'm going to be doing, so I'll be putting those up. I'll probably be rereading Terry's books, and by rereading, I mean re-listening to, and writing up some reviews on those, I'm hoping, and some more other projects in the works.
Ooh.
And finally, be sure...
Also, we played a game of D&D that you recorded, right?
I did record it, but I haven't talked to the other players yet as to whether or not we can release it.
Okay. Well, if they're okay with it, can we release it?
Yeah. I mean, if they're cool with it, then I'm cool with it. I'll probably do some light editing on it, just to kind of clean it up a little bit, because since it's a recording and not a live session, I think that it just helps the flow.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, if they're down to let me release it, then I am down to release it.
Cool. So we may have that coming. I don't know if it'll be a continuous thing that we'll do all the time. I still plan on running D&D campaigns, but I don't know if it's something we'll release consistently. But I think it would be fun to at least release one just to see the reception to it.
Yeah, that would definitely be cool. Also, I'd love to give a quick shout out to all the patrons. We got Ryan, Molly, Tatiana, Larry, Stephen Hines, Fat Tony, Heavy No More, Chad Good, and Bucky, all being patrons to the show. Appreciate you all. Love you all. Thank you guys so much for continuing to support us. And finally, be sure to leave a 5-star review on... Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say that the Patreon money that we have coming in has helped us a lot as far as just general stuff. It actually, your money is going to help us grow, and we definitely appreciate it.
Yeah, it takes the maintenance cost of the Libsyn and the website and stuff, and it makes it definitely more manageable for us when, especially on those tight times where we're not able to turn it around ourselves. So we appreciate it so much. And finally, be sure to leave a 5-star review on iTunes or find us on YouTube, iHeartRadio, Spotify, nearly anywhere you can find a podcast. You can even do the Google Podcasts, upload our RSS feed.
Oh, shit.
So until next week, ogres, keep your clubs blunt.
And your tusks sharp.
Good night. Okay, recording has started.
Yay!
Yay, we can finally do the thing, only after an hour.
But what an hour it was.
Yeah, not too bad considering the fact that I just came home and almost immediately started to look for stuff.
Yeah.
And I got home at about
Not like
4:30.
you could have done that last night or at any other time.
Actually couldn't have.
You totally could have.
Constantly busy, Brandon, and tired. I have been tired.
You can look up stories on your phone. That's what I do.
I could, but I'm not
laying
even doing
bed.
I'm not even doing that. I'm not even like watching shit. I'm just laying down and dying.
Well, that's serious.
Once I finally get to lay down, I lay down and I die. But we could talk about that on the thing. Okay. I need a word, Brandon.
Erectile.
Okay, I feel like we've done erect before.
Probably. I'm just looking at stuff I have in front of me to try to find a word. Legion.
Vacuous.
Midlife crisis.
Still like vacuous.
Vacuous works.
I'm going with vacuous. VACUUOUS? Apparently.
Vacuous.
All right. Let's do it.
Let's do it, brah.
I farted. All right. That sounds ass. Wow, the one, I don't know what the fuck that was. Jesus Christ. Hold on.
That sounds ass.
That sounds like asses. Fuck.
Sounds like asses.